I did a lot of videos, and I have to say, one of the ones that I did more recently was a video in which I was talking very much about Xbox and how whenever something happens that happens to every developer, that happens to every studio, or that happens to every company, people tend to make more of a big deal about it when it happens to Xbox, and that tends to be the case right here. And I don't actually agree with this at all, because I feel like the more I get to know how development works and how these studios work, the more this kind of stuff just seems like run-of-the-mill announcements and things, right? I don't understand the level of concern or faux concern, as it were, and I don't understand the people that act like this must be the end of Xbox or whatever. I also don't understand the level of commitment a lot of these media outlets and things have to reporting on this stuff, when it only seems like they do the majority of the reporting on the Xbox side of things. So that's something that I feel like obviously is going to make a lot of people talk as well. So this is going to be a video you guys don't want to miss. I can tell you that. I can assure you that you don't want to miss this video. Trust me. Hey there everyone, I'm the Crapgamer, and of course this is Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll probably notice, some of the changes around here, and hopefully that doesn't stop you from giving us a like and possibly even consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me today. I really appreciate it, and it means the world to me. Thank you guys very much. So anyway, traditionally in the past, Microsoft is known for, buying studios. They'd buy studios or get a studio or something along those lines, and then what happens is the studio ends up losing a lot of the original leadership, and we also see that the studios tend to, be forced to make games and do things that they aren't necessarily fond of doing, and that's really kind of the wrong way of doing business. The thing is, though, is companies change, and that's exactly what Microsoft has done. We can go back and look at the turned on the power on video documentary that Microsoft did, where Phil Spencer even comments on the Lionhead Studio situation, saying, we buy these studios to have them do what they do great, not do what we want them to do, So you can't force the studios to do what you want them to do. You have to kind of let them have that independence while just writing a check. That's how you get good things, right? Like, if you're sponsoring a scientist who's working on his own stuff, you don't, force him to work on your thing. You let him work on the thing that he's working on and passionate about, and you give them the money to do that. And that's what Microsoft has learned. Things change, this isn't the same Microsoft as before, and it did take me a while to even notice that, but now we see that the co-founder and studio director at Forza and Fable Studio Playground Games is leaving the company after 12 years and 5 Forza games, and a lot of people are kind of making this to be out a much bigger deal than I'm sure it is. Playground Games co-founder and studio director Gavin Raybaum is leaving the company following the successful launch of Forza Horizon 5 in November. General manager and co-founder Trevor Williams will take over. So you get one kind of co-founder leaving, and you have another co-founder who's been there all along stepping in to take their place, and this is 12 years. Like, that's a long stint as a developer in one place. Trust me when I say that. Microsoft executive Alan Hartman told Windows Central of the change. After 12 years working on 5 award-winning Forza Horizon games, Gavin Rayburn is leaving Playground Games as studio director. A founding member of Playground Games, we thank Gavin for his leadership and contributions to the Forza franchise and wish him all the best. Hartman went on to say that Playground Games will focus on delivering more updates to Forza Horizon 5 and also developing its new Fable game, which obviously we haven't seen anything much of yet, but I think we're all eagerly kind of anticipating what's going to be going on there. Rayborn worked at Codemasters for 24 years before starting Playground Games in 2009, where he had been for the past 12 years. There's no word yet on where he will land next after Playground Games, but obviously, it could be someplace just about anywhere, really. Playground Games recently opened a second studio and is staffed by 200 people working on the new Fable, according to reports. Rayburn leaves Playground seemingly at a high point for the company, as Forza Horizon 5 was adored by critics and helped set new Xbox records. So the guy did his thing, stayed there for a tremendous amount of time, and, here he is going to be able to kind of set his own terms and things like that. That's a long time to be working anywhere, and in particular it seemed like he had been working around racing games for over 30 years, and that's a high pedigree. I believe that, you know, a lot of people are trying very hard to make this out to be something of a huge deal. I just, you know, for me personally, I don't see it that way. I do think that what we keep seeing from a lot of these developers and things like that is, it doesn't have anything to do with Microsoft. It's not poor working conditions here. That's not to say that there's no issues at some Xbox studios, right? Like, I still believe that 343 is going to see a lot more turnover sooner rather than later. And I think that, you know, a lot of this has to do with the fact that, you know, they do have some poor leadership there. You know, it's hard saying with some of these other places, but I think when it comes down to like video game industry and developers, I feel as if they tend to get stagnated or feel a little stale if they stick around in one place for too long of a time. And so this doesn't really make that doesn't concern me in the least. Obviously, it's going to be something that is going to be talked about, and I see a lot of people talking about it because I get it. Microsoft doesn't do themselves any favors. You know, when Sony does announcements about, you know, doing a new VR and new AAA VR games and stuff like that, Microsoft's announcement was about nail polish. So I get the jokes, I really do, but I do think that at the same time, you know, Microsoft maybe deserves some of the I don't want to say slander, but I think that they probably deserve some of the criticisms that they get. But I also feel like probably the best way that we can probably look at this is just go, you know, listen, at the end of the day, studio people move on. 12 years is a very long time to be, you know, kind of caught up in one studio, and 5 games is a lot of games to ship in 12 years. Think about that. I mean, that's almost a game every other year. And to be honest with you, if he was there that entire time, you can maybe even consider it one more game, which would be the Fast and the Furious standalone game that Playground Games helped do. So yeah, like for me personally, I feel like, hey, you know what? This is something. A lot of games come out there and come out, and you have developers that want to kind of change things up, and it could have just been his time to do something different. It doesn't mean they're going to close down Playground Games. Out of all the developers, right, for anybody, I don't care if you're a PlayStation fan, I love PlayStation, right? I don't care what developer, you know, out of all the developers of Xboxes, right, this is just something that I would never pick to hate on Playground Games, because all their games have been absolutely stellar, and I think they've either scored better than the last or pretty much close to scoring better than the last. So, you know, yeah, I think it's foolish to kind of knock Playground Games. I think they're going to do an amazing job of Fable, and I can't wait to see more about it. But yeah, I just think that a lot of people that are just assuming that Xbox is in trouble because of this, I think you guys are off base with that. So I will link the article, though. You guys can check it out. Let me know how you feel about it. You can hit me up on Twitter, Xbox Live. It doesn't matter. Hit me up everywhere. Thanks for watching. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up. Crap gamer out.